Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Grab your coffee, maybe a snack, and let's get into it. So, what we're going to be talking about today are the planned food shortages, okay? And this is according to a U.S. rancher, okay? And what he has to say about everything. And the first thing that he said was the Great Reset is hogwash. Okay. He said, so says one Nebraska rancher, hailing from 6 generations of farmers, dating back to the 1830s. And he said it's hogwash, along with all their global goals of sustainability being implemented across the United States and beyond, in Canada, the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany. And his name is Trent Loos, Loos. He's 55 years old. And his ancestors arrived here from Germany 2 centuries ago. And he knows what real sustainability looks like and what makes it possible. Fuel, for instance. Precisely what globalists like Klaus, and the global partners of the WEF, okay, they want to nix by 2030, Agenda 2030, which is being accelerated. So look forward to 2025, okay, with their climate agenda. All right, conservation is about producing more with less. And, in 1900, it took 10 acres of land to produce enough food to feed one person for 1 year. Now in 2021, it takes less than a third of an acre. And that's all thanks to diesel power. Now, 5 of those 10 acres, okay, went toward feeding mules and horses. But today, 1 gallon of diesel replaces 500 man hours of labor. And that is the real reason for the attack on fossil fuels. With fuel, we can continually get through the efficiency of producing more food with fewer inputs. And without fuel, we go back to the horse and buggy days, which is a regression of 100 years ago. With every twist and turn, governments globally, all right, via carbon taxes, banning pipelines, making drilling impractical, sending tankers of fuel reserves to China, all right, it's driving fuel costs just driving it up, making sustainable farming less viable. We've heard the stories of what's going on with these farmers. It's horrifying. And the flip side of this burning candle is land. Take, for instance, Biden's executive order 14008, okay, or 30 by 30, if you will. The initiative, okay, it aims at removing 30% of land from food production by 2030. And as we watch, 87,000 new of these IRS agents, the ones with the pew-pews, yeah, they roll out from the Inflation Reduction Act. We miss the $369 billion pouring into conservation programs. And the whole concept of conservation has been hijacked by government officials who want to tell these farmers to take care of their land. It's about controlling the people. How many times have we heard the saying, control the food, control the people, control the money, control the people? How many times? So This rancher, he isn't even worried about his own family. He's raising cattle. He's raising pigs. There will be food enough for their table. He's worrying about the other 329.5 million Americans, okay? Especially those living in places like New York, LA, all right? Is what keeps him up at night. Food security is a grave national security danger. This is what he is warning everyone about. He wants this word to get out, okay? And the CCP, China's big brother administrative state, right? They've been buying up enormous amounts of land here in the U.S., along with billionaires such as Billy Boy, Bezos, marching in lockstep with Klaus and the WEF. And China is buying up all the resources at an alarming rate. So much of our medicine, so much of our vitamins, trace minerals and things that we rely on, they're from China. And they're the only source in the world. They could hold us, and they're holding it hostage, man. They are seriously holding us hostage. The agenda is to destabilize food security, surfaced as early as 1995. Remember, well, okay, the Hollywood blockbuster movie Babe about the pig, okay? When that came out, featuring an adorable talking pig, right? Gifted with human characteristics and qualities. Remember that movie? There was more here that met the eye. And this guy, okay, Trent Lewis, he's determined to penetrate the bottom of it. And so he began attending animal rights functions nationwide, having investigated this agenda for decades. He mounted a solo information counteroffensive via talk radio online platform. It's called Beck News, Beek. All right, so look that up. And other media. He's visited 41 states in the past 15 months, speaking while his wife carries the ranch. He said, I don't see the bigger picture. I thought that people just fell in love with animals, and so consequently we went to liberate them. That's what he said. But their bigger ploy was to demonize the ownership of animals, because it leads to a bigger challenge for food security. Yeah. And he probed executives for real causes behind their love for animals, right? And took notice when former New York Mayor Bill de Blasio, you know, that schmuck, took office in 2014. And basically, on day one, he moved to ban the horse carriages in Central Park, which have operated since 1862. Have you ever been to New York City? Especially around Christmas time? I have. That's the one thing that a lot of people looked forward to. I know I used to do it when I went up there. I loved it. Though the carriage drivers stood their ground. And the decision, it was revoked. And he quizzed his senator, Deb Fisher, okay, of Nebraska, why she attended Davos this past summer. She wouldn't answer. Of course not. You think she wants her dirty little secrets, her skeletons to come out of the closet? Pfft, no. He said, I can document this extremely well. Her net wealth, all right, the senator, her net wealth since she became senator, now in her second term, has exploded. Why? Because she's being financed through the WEF. You can count on it. Now, he actually did eventually get to the bottom of what he believes is the agenda. All right. They're demonizing the cow. Remember all the cow farts, right? Because the cow is the most important animal in God's creation for planet Earth. The cow consumes for 74% of the United States landmass. The world's landmass is 74% is not suitable, listen to this, for growing a crop to feed a human. But a ruminant animal for 4 chambers in its stomach can take cellulose material that you and I cannot eat and upcycle it into the most nutrient dense food substance on the planet. Did you know that? Me neither. You learn something new every day, don't you? So he said, with the cow, we can feed the world like we've never seen before. They're trying to demonize the cow, saying that the cow is the contributor to climate change through methane emissions because the cow farts. Let me ask you, the last time you farted, did you think that you were worried about climate change? No. But I bet your wife or your husband ran out the room saying, "What the hell did you just eat?" You know? Nobody cares about cow fart. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, I know I'm trying to make a joke and all, but, you know, I'm being serious here. So, you need to eat. You know, they're trying to demonize the cow and saying, here, have some cricket, eat it. You eat it. And who's the largest investor in the crickets? I'll give you one guess. Billy Boy. So, since the year 2000, he has educated about the food system, where our food comes from, who produces it, shortages become reality, how the fruits of the agenda are now corrupting up everything, okay? And today, a global goulash, if you will, of climate implementations have rolled out or are in the pipe, all right? And the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service designated the monarch butterfly. Have you ever seen a monarch butterfly? They're beautiful. As an endangered species, enabling the government to cordon off any section of land it deems critical habitat. The sage grouse, okay, not grass, grouse, Grouse, was also declared endangered, okay? Despite a study showing otherwise. And the government nevertheless proceeded labeling land critical habitat. And there's a goal to make a Montana Serengeti, removing some 3.2 million acres from the people's use. Yeah. Now, beyond the U.S. borders, okay, I'm talking Canadian government here, aims to cut fertilizer by 30% by 2030. Here we go again with Agenda 2030. With its strengthening climate plan, and it aims to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions and increase carbon sequestration, according to the government's website. But this only puts more restraints on growing food. Now, similar policies, okay, have surfaced across Europe, and apparently the Great Reset is in full swing. Yet, not everyone has taken these measures lying down. In the past several months, uprisings due to food shortage or threats of potential shortage have boiled over into revolts in Sri Lanka. We know that Sri Lanka has completely collapsed, okay? The Netherlands, Belgium, Bangladesh. In late August, the Sacagawea Premier. Now, Scott Moe, okay, he stated that if Trudeau sends federal operatives to look at province farms, private property, without permission, They'd be arrested for trespassing. Now, farmers, they're they're getting they're getting increasingly vocal, all right, as the Great Reset is unrelenting lurching on. Okay. Now, people know, or they are paying attention, at least, to what is actually happening with the farmers. You can say revolt. Okay. The Dutch farmers are just raising a fit, if you will. Now, that's spilled over into many Eastern European countries. The Dutch government has been a leader of implementing this 30 by 30 initiative. Okay, but it's not enough. People need to wake up like yesterday. All right, and every single day, the same thing is happening here in the U.S. and people are not paying attention. They're just not. All right, they're not paying attention to how farmers are not able to use their own land as they see fit. And what options do Americans have right now? You know, you can speak to your representatives in the House of the Senate, at the state and federal levels. Research Executive 14008. The World Economic Forum and the UN's agendas, they share this knowledge without neighbors. With their neighbors, not least of all, you know, like come November, I'll say this, come November, for candidates who will place America over the CCP, the climate pushing globalists, and the Great Reset. It's hogwash indeed. All right, I agree with them. It's hogwash. You know, I mean, we sit and we talk about this stuff all the time. But yet, not one of us can sit here and say, all right, that we don't have a family member or a friend that still thinks that we're nuts. How many of you can actually sit here and raise your hand? I know I can. That you've tried to have this conversation with a family member or a friend. They literally will complain about the rising food costs or electricity costs or this cost or that cost. And then they'll go and they'll spend hundreds of dollars to get their hair did. They got their nails did. They got their toes done. It's like, priorities, man. Come on. What's wrong with you? Stop spending all this money on this. Learn how to cut your own flipping hair. Go get a box of hair dye and be done with it. By the time all this is done and said and over with, you're not going to be worried about your acrylic nails, all right? Or whatever that is anymore, because I don't know. Because you're going to be elbow deep in cow manure, because you're going to be needing to plant your freedom garden, because you got to feed your family. Get over your flippin' self. Stop worrying about if you got gray hair. Stop worrying about if you broke a flippin' nail. Who gives a shit about what your toes look like in your summer sandals, because it's almost freaking fall anyway. Alright? Nobody cares. Nobody's looking at you. Nobody cares. Worry about your family. Worry about being self-sufficient. Worry about feeding your family. That's what you need to be worrying about. Stop spending all this money on your hair and your nails. Nobody cares. Stop being a Karen. Alright guys, I'm out of here. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping. And as always, fear less. Ciao.